Good morning, good day, good night, everybody. Wherever you are, I'm happy that you are right here with me watching this video. Just wanted to open up just thanking everybody for the support. I've just kind of started this journey with some of these videos and kind of what I mentioned in the video before, Spell It Out, that I'm pursuing and doing. I'm in my early stages. I just appreciate everyone who's kind of engaged me and engaged this work that I'm doing. And I was trying to figure out like how to best end this week. This week I've talked a lot about just like dancing with difficulty and not lying down. Just getting yourself going. Stepping out of comfort zones. I've just talked a lot about that this week. And as I'm kind of walking in my morning to the gym, I was trying to figure out just like how to finish this week off. And yesterday, Friday, or yesterday, as I'm recording this, is my Friday, whenever you're watching it, is maybe another day. But yesterday was in the Spell It Out video. I talked about blisters and this idea of not being able to dispel blisters without finding the word bliss in that, and finding the bliss amongst the blisters, the passion amongst the process that you're in towards whatever it is you're trying to pursue. And I was thinking about that as to what makes us, all of us, like not be able to find that bliss in the blisters of life, and not be able to find that joy in the midst of a journey, the journey that they're on. And I think one of the things that kind of came up, and it's been a theme as this week with some of the videos I've been doing, is sometimes I just think folks just don't do. I think sometimes folks just, they don't do. I think that is just definitely a reality. Sorry, I'm crossing the street, there's a car. Anyway, I think sometimes we don't find the bliss because we're not even getting the blisters. We're not getting the cuts, we're not getting the scrapes. And whether that has to do with just, shying away from that or having just one too many of them. I think sometimes we're not getting the bliss because we're not doing the types of things that would even cause the blisters, so the bliss doesn't show up. So I don't know, I was just thinking about that and why it is that we shy away sometimes from the things that can really allow us to take the steps we want to take in our lives, and the steps that we know we should take at times in our lives. And a couple words have come to mind, really mainly two, that I want to go into. And I think the first one is secure. I think, and this hits along the lines of the comfort zone thing that I was talking about on Thursday. But I was just thinking about that word, and I think wanting to be secure has a lot to do with the steps that we don't take at times. And I was looking at the word secure, and if you look at the word secure, there's a couple things you can kind of find in if you play with it. And there's actually 3 words you could find within the word secure if you play with that word. And I think the first one is the S-E-C, insecure, right? And that's also an abbreviation for sec, like give me a second. Hold on one sec. We And I think part of what happens is that we get afraid of wanting to take the second to even really genuinely think about taking steps forward towards the things that we secretly want to pursue and do. And so I think that's a huge part. And you know, even for me, you know, I was sitting here like even thinking like, oh man, should I make a video about this? And then I was like, wait, hold on, like I'm sitting here worrying about whether I have the perfect camera, or like, oh man, like maybe I should save this for a better time. It's like, no, like this is the time. I have this second, you know? And I think often we don't take the second, you know, to do the things that would actually really secure us. And our need to be secure sometimes turns into something that doesn't actually secure the steps that we need to take. So I think understanding the second that you have to give yourself the chances to change the things you want to change are important to consider. And I think also if you explore the word secure, you find the word cure, which is kind of the latter half of the word. You have second and you have cure, secure. You know, a cure is something that we take when we're sick. A cure is something that we take when we're not feeling well, or just under the weather, or sometimes we even take it where we feel like there's something coming, you know, like you feel a headache coming on, or you take Advil, you take these things that can help to cure a sickness or a state that is less than the well-being that you want. And you know, I was talking with my friend. I think another thing that we do and a need to be secure that sometimes stops us from moving is we seek too much motivation. And as someone who has a passion for motivating and has a passion for inspiring, I actually think those two things are different. And that's been talked about, not by me yet, but by other people, the difference between inspiration and motivation. But yeah, I think, you know, the need to have motivation, to have this thing external to yourself, and external and outside of you to move you, is something else that stops us. And if we feel like if we don't have that motivation, we don't have that external driver, we just don't do anything. We don't take the steps that would allow us to actually secure things. And yeah, it's talking to my other friend the day before yesterday, I want to say, and we were talking about just like motivation, and one of my videos just didn't resonate with him. He didn't need it at the time, and he was just like, you know, he said to me, man, motivation is medicine, you know, it's something outside of yourself to kind of get you moving in a direction, in a good direction for yourself. And or can be, at least. It also can be used another way. But he's like, motivation is kind of like medicine. It's like if you take too much of it, it can become poison. And that really it struck me, you know, because he's 100% right. And I had to recognize that like even myself, you know, I have been using currently I've been using a lot of motivation. And part of why I've been using a lot of motivation is because I was sick and tired of not leveling up and not taking the steps forward towards the things that I've been wanting to pursue as a creative mindset coach and speaker. And so yeah, I reached out to a bunch of people and said, hey, next 21 days, I'm going to post every day. And, you know, so every time I do post, I send it to some of those people. Some are all, if not all, of those folks who said they keep me accountable. And so motivation could be a really powerful thing. It's going to be a good thing, but I think too much of it poisons the personal willpower that it takes to move when some of those external things aren't there. And I think an example of like something that we use that I've been, and you know, this is not me speaking against it or saying that it's bad, but just talking from my own personal experience. I used to rely on alarms a lot, particularly when I was doing a job that I wasn't happy doing, or that I wasn't happy while doing it, is the more accurate thing to say. You know, I really rely on alarms. And because I was just like, yeah, I don't feel motivated to go to this job at all, most days. And like on most days. So I'd use this alarm, you know, to force me, motivate me to get off my butt and bring my butt to work. What I have found recently in this process of getting my health back and really getting my organization back, particularly eating well and doing things like that, are that, like, because there's a rhythm of health. There's a healthy rhythm now that I'm in. There's a habit that I've formed, and habits that I've formed, and my body is now so used to this rhythm. It was tough for the first couple weeks. Particularly last week, there was like a lot of rebellion in my body, a lot of pain from just having to adjust to, you know, this rhythm of eating and working out and exercise and sleeping and all that stuff. But and that's amazing. Sometimes, like, the things that are good for us are what we rebel against. But yeah, like, I started recognizing I didn't need an alarm for things. You know, I was making sure that I set alarms like every day as to, like, to go off when I needed to eat, to go off when, you know, when I needed to sleep, to go off just to get me going, you know, which is the purpose of motivation. But I found, not that I don't need any motivation at all, but I've been able to lessen some of that. I've been able to lessen some of the motivation and external things that I've needed. You know, I don't even set an alarm at this point to wake up. And because I've gone at this so rigorously, my body just now knows the rhythm. So I wake up automatically when I'm supposed to. To the point, like, my body even knows that, like, oh yeah, if I have a day off, there's just certain signals that show up in my body now. And it knows to wake up just a little bit later, versus, like, when I gotta go to work. You know, so it's in me now. It's in my spirit. This understanding of what I need to do. It's embedded deeply in my, just how my body does stuff and understands stuff now. Yeah, and so it helps me now that I've made it an ally. It's kind of helped me out. So I don't need the alarms as much. I don't need as much motivation. Not that I don't need any. When I do this video, I'm still gonna send it to my accountability people. But I can start to lessen my motivation as my inspiration increases. And I think that's the natural order. Is that, like, as you begin to really utilize the motivations and kind of the external things, the idea is that they educate your body and your mind and your spirit and your even just, like, your emotions to and it embeds those things with the understanding of what they need to do. And I think that's what motivation helps us to do. So yeah, that's just something that grew over the past, you know, week or two. But I think what happens is, in the need to be secure, those motivations kind of become crutches, and we continue to lean on them because they work for a little while. And, you know, I was taking this stuff to sleep when I was first trying to kind of get into this rhythm of sleeping well. And it wasn't anything bad. What the heck was it called? If I remember, I'll put it in the description. But and it was just something more natural to help me just get to sleep at the right times. But yeah, I found, like, I needed to stop taking it, because what I didn't want to happen is my body just gets used to having that to sleep. And then if something happens and that's not there, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I think this is kind of something that occurs, like, we use motivation to get us going, but we don't give ourselves time to develop the inspiration to keep us going. Motivation is about getting us going, not keeping us going. And I think, that's too much of a cure. That's too much of an effort trying to be secure. When being secure becomes such a focus that we don't take the time to foster the right skills, that whatever keeps us secure is supposed to get us to, we end up really not being able to truly walk on our own. And there are just steps in the process that nothing can help you take in regards to external motivation, external ideas. And this kind of goes to there's this whole idea called praxis. And the idea of praxis is that praxis is a Greek word for theory-informed practice. And the idea is that if you have a lot of practice, but you don't have any theory, you don't have any ideas informing you, don't have the right information as to how to go about taking certain steps, or what steps to take, you're not being able to be effective because you don't know what the right things are. However, the opposite becomes true, that if you just have a lot of theory, if you just have a lot of ideas, if you just have a lot of information, but you have no practice, you're inefficient. You're not efficient because you can't do things right because you're not doing anything. So, I looking at the praxis mentality and kind of applying that to this conversation is like, I think a lot of people seek the cure of information and seek the cure of content and seek the cure of just like ideas or the security of people outside of themselves that make sure that they're consistently being put on the right path. And it's like, once you get put on the path, the only way you're going to truly stay on it is if you begin to develop some things within yourself. The cure is not going to keep us well. The cure can get us well. So whatever those cures are that you think are keeping you secure, I'd invite you to just explore. Yeah, I'm just curious. I wouldn't invite you to do anything. I'm not inviting you to do anything. But I'm just curious. I am curious as to like what some of those things are, the cures that some of us might be using. I know what some of mine are that I've had to relinquish, was a lot of, I used to just consume a lot of motivational stuff. And I had to release that and kind of let go of a lot of that information. In fact, like, I actually cut my information and ideas and things that I've been consuming by 90%, and I replaced that with just doing stuff. And that has largely helped me in my praxis to doing what I'm trying to do. And yeah, it's been a kind of a beautiful process as a result. But yes, I think we should, I believe in being and just questioning and being aware of the things that we are using and trying to be secure in order to do the things that we want to do. Because I think we can consistently begin looking for security blankets. And that's kind of what ends up happening. Is that, like, if you look at the word secure in, right, take that in, put it in front of the secure. You have insecure. So we trick ourselves. We think that we're being secure in maybe holding on to something that we've had for a while, that we think we need, and maybe that's a person, maybe that's an idea, maybe that's a job, maybe that is a place. We use all kinds of stuff. I'll tell you something that I used. I used weight. I ate a lot. And I thought that would keep me secure in myself and secure in not being anxious all the time. But it was really just a reflection of me being insecure, and a reflection is interesting because, you know, typically it reverses words. It reverses things when it twists things when you look at a mirror or a reflection. So yeah, I think the things we're often trying to be secure in lead us to being insecure, and about things that we should be sure in. And that said, though, I think being sure is another issue. And if you take out the EC, insecure, take that word out. Take out the EC in the word secure. You have sure, right? And so I think that is something else that in the need to try to be secure, we do that because we want to make sure that whatever the next step we're going to take is right. We want to make sure that whatever action that we give ourselves to is going to bear fruit. We want to make sure, you know? And this need to be secure, this need to make sure things are just right, and to make sure that the timing is right and that the place is right. I think it takes us away from the places that we're trying to go sometimes. And I'm not saying security is bad, by the way. I'm not saying being secure is bad. But I think sometimes if you're too focused on being secure in the things that you're doing, it'll lead to being insecure against the things that you should be really pursuing. So yeah, I was just exploring that understanding of secure, and how our need to be secure and feel secure actually can make us insecure and take us away from, the purity of the things we want, and it can dilute it and convolute it, those desires. So it's just something that I was really thinking through, as I was looking at, what stops us from getting that bliss in the blisters, because we're not getting the bliss because we're too worried about being secure, and we're actually not moving towards the things that could secure us. We choose. You know, my aunt talks about the whether you're going to live life taking short-term gains for long-term pain, or short-term pain for long-term gain. And I think when you choose gain in the short term for pain in the long term, insecurity is the only thing that can happen. Insecurity is the only thing that shows up. It makes it like the minute that you even attempt to see anything beyond your circumstances, or see anything beyond where you are, you get filled with anxiety and doubt, and you hesitate. And you kind of live in an eternal hesitation. You develop habits of hesitation. And I think all of us, including me, if we look, we can see, whether if it's right now or moments in our past, habits of hesitation that we have had. And, you know, I imagine some of us have had to shed certain habits of hesitation in order to go after and have the things that they desire in their lives. And I also imagine that some of us, and you know, I stand in both areas, have not given up those habits of hesitation and haven't replaced them with better habits. So, you know, we are in a routine of being stuck. So yeah, those are just some things that really stuck with me. You know, particularly in terms of the word secure and the word motivate. I mean, if you look at the word motivate, you find the word motive. And I think when the motive is correct, the motivation allows us to change for the better, right? When the motive is incorrect, the motivation keeps us tethered, keeps us stuck, because we use it as a crutch, or we use it to confine our what we should and shouldn't be doing. And so I think often our motives behind needing motivation, or our motives behind needing something external to what's in our souls and what's in our hearts and what's in our spirits, what inspires us is the need to be secure, which I think plants a seed sometimes that will grow into being insecure and living a life that is insecure instead of inspired. So what I hope is that I don't motivate. I do love motivation, and I think motivation is needed, because I think there's a lot of things that are sick in our world. So I bring motivation at times because I think that's important. And so whenever it's able to come through me and be channeled through me, I do my best to allow that to come through. But what I really hope, more than motivation, millions of times more than motivation, is that in the process of journeying with me, that you find the inspiration, that you find it in your spirit, that when I'm speaking, you're not receiving because you feel like you need it, or you feel like it's something you need to go and go for what you want, and go for the goals you have. I'm hoping that it touches something that's already in you, and that it speaks to something that is already in you, and that you're inspired by this. And if you're not, that the motivation aspect of it takes you to a place that you may use the motivation, if this is what this is for you, to find the inspiration. Because the main difference between the two is that the inspiration comes from inside, motivation comes from outside. And I think we are best when we find the things that are within and bring those out to the world. So this is my long word workout, word walk of the day. I appreciate everyone again who's been listening, and yeah, something I'm gonna explore is actually doing YouTube Live. I've been encouraged to do that, and now that I'm in this moment right here, I'm like, oh yeah, like this would have been good to do live. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that, cause yeah, I think that'd be cool. So, all right, guys. Well, I suppose I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, Sunday for me, is a new week. So, so yeah, as this week ends and we move towards a new week, yeah, I'm gonna be kind of shifting some of the things I'll be talking about, because I think there's been a lot of what has been coming through me. I've noticed there's a lot of push to step outside of comfort zones, and part of that's because that's the place that I am at. That may not be the place everyone else is, but if that does resonate with you, and it resonates with a way that you felt like you need to live, I hope you give yourself a chance, and that some of the content that's coming through me will inspire you and encourage you to give yourself a chance to change the things that'll make your life better, personally, professionally. So, see you guys tomorrow. This is Rhetorical Artz, creative mindset coach and speaker, and hope to continue this conversation. See ya.